joined by Miguel Luis. This guy is all the way from Amsterdam, here for a short minute in Manila, and we had to talk about him, about his life, and of course, the successful So cards. Dude, I didn't know about this until Erica told me about it, but you guys were able to raise 12,883 euros?
Yeah, I think so.
12,800 euros, which is approximately about 750,000 pesos-ish.
In a month.
Yeah. In a month.
That was insane. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So before we talk about what the hell So Cards is, like, what, how did you kickstart that? That's hard, man.
Man, I don't know. I mean, the ideas existed for a few years. I've made like a bunch of prototypes and stuff, and like gave some to friends, sold some to random people when I was still living in Manila,
Okay.
and then like put it on hold when I moved to Amsterdam to study, to do my master's program. At the end of it, I just finished my thesis, and I had like nothing to do. I couldn't apply for jobs yet because I hadn't technically graduated, so I figured I've had this idea that I like kept dormant for a while. Like I want to bring it to life, and I have no money, so I figured, okay, this is how much I need to like create like a number of cards and sell it around the world. And I figured, okay, what if I think one of my classmates suggested like do a Kickstarter. And I figured, okay, I can try that, and I started just like brainstorming and like what that would even like look like.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
It's pretty overwhelming, right? So it's like, okay, let's do a Kickstarter. Let's make these cards. Wait, where do we manufacture them?
Yeah.
What's it gonna look like? How do we price it? Like, how did you figure it out? You did that all yourself?
Oh yeah, it's been a one-man band, even till now. The design I did myself, like overnight, like years ago. Like honestly, like the process of like the cards themselves, they happened, man, around October of 2016. I'd like just gone back from a trip to Berlin. I was jet lagged, and I hadn't worked on any projects for like over a month, so I was just like creatively like constipated. So I was like, I need to get stuff. I need to make something.
Get it out.
Get it out there.
Yeah.
And then I had this idea of like, I've always been frustrated with conversations and how shallow they tend to be, and I just like couldn't connect with like a lot of conversations about what did you eat today, who's dating whom, and I've wanted to like somehow solve that, and I realized like, oh, I've had these questions in my head since I've been like doing documentaries over the years.
Yeah.
What if I would just like write them all down and then figure out what I would do with that? So one night I wrote down about 100. And then the next night I figured, okay, what do I want to create with this? I don't know exactly how it went there, but I realized like I'm kind of into like board games and card games. What if I put like just a deck of cards? Okay, from this 100, cut it down to 52, and then slept. And then the next night, like all these things would happen at like between 2 to 4 in the morning just because I couldn't sleep. And then the next night I was like still restless, and I'm like, okay, I know a little bit of Illustrator. Let me put together like a design.
Yeah.
Like what's a good name? Like, so, okay, here we go. We have like a verbal cue that I think is somewhat universal. Let's call it so with a ...
Yeah.
And then got on Illustrator, designed the whole like package. This is like pretty close to what it originally was. It's minimalistic, basically, because my skills are minimal.
So you didn't contract any designers?
No,
this is all you.
And then,
wow.
Fun fact, like the 3 dots are like red, yellow, and green.
Okay.
Like initially, I mean, some people are like, oh, it's like, you know, like the traffic light. It's the signal to go. And then I'm like, yeah, a little bit, but also, I just remember like one of my favorite albums when I was a kid was Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
All right.
It's the same color scheme. So I'm like, I'll plop that on there.
So there's an inspiration of Blink and So Cards.
There's always like stuff bleeding into what I do.
Yeah.
From unexpected places. So I put that together, and then it's just like sat around as like a thing that I printed and sold until that time in Amsterdam, and I was just like, what if I scale this up and go global? And then had to think of like a video concept, think of like how much it would all cost, like talk to like printers, figure out a timeline, like start a company in the Netherlands to like receive funding. It was a whole process from like,
oh man, what a headache.
Insane. Like looking back, there were so many things, if I had redone it, I could have done better. but so many things I'm like, cool, I'm proud I did this instead.
Definitely, man. You should be proud of it. You raised a lot of money because you went past your goal. So hey, you've got some extra change, and
Yeah, but
now
that
you're
was
selling them, right?
That was dramatic. That was the way the campaign was tracking. It was never sure it was gonna hit the goal.
Oh, wow.
Also, like looking back, like I set that way too high. I thought it would like, you know, because I knew like, oh, I wanted to make enough so that I would never have to go for another fundraiser like ever again.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I overestimated how much people would latch on to like a card game and
Right.
I don't know. I was like I was basking in the light of like viral stuff, like exploding kittens and Cards Against Humanity, and I'm like, oh, it's possible. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I think like my optimism got the best of me, but I mean, nonetheless, we hit that goal. I think 3 days before the deadline.
No way. Just 3 days.
Yeah. Such a big weight
How
off my
long was
shoulders.
the whole campaign for?
It was a 30-day campaign.
30 days. All right, you mentioned earlier. 30 days, man.
Month. That was the most brutal month
It's a
of my
lot of
life.
money in 30 days, but the preparation that goes behind, and like, how did you
Yeah.
guys promote it to the point that it reached that many people? Because you got how many backers? Like
Man,
700 backers, right?
something like that.
Something like that. It's a lot.
A ton, dude. I was running off like 4 hours of sleep per night for the whole month, and it was
Anxiety.
like I would wake up and immediately. Well, before it began, I already like put together a list of everyone I knew, basically everyone I knew that was like in somewhat good terms with.
Yeah, and you just bug them, right?
And just honestly, it bugged them. And like I did like an email blast of like a standard thing, and that got like maybe 2 replies. I'm like, oh man,
it's
this
like,
is a
what's
bad
this guy
approach.
selling me? I haven't
know.
talked to him in years.
I'm creating this like product that's all about authentic connection and then promoting it via copy pasted email. Let's re-strategize. So from then on, I was like messaging people individually and asking like, oh, how have you been? And then
So I've got this.
honestly, and then
Is this network marketing?
every morning there's a list of people I'm supposed to talk to, but every night before I sleep, I'm like, oh, I forgot this person. And so
Oh, man.
I was just like drained. And man, on top of that, let's see. Thankfully I'd been done with. I'd finished my thesis, so that was out of the question.
So
And
that
then
was what you were doing
What
full
else?
time.
I had a friend visiting Amsterdam. I had to take her around. I mean, that she wasn't a burden at all. It was fun. It was like honestly a relief. It was a good way to balance it out. But also like I was editing photos for a wedding I'd shot.
Oh, wow.
My lease was up for my apartment, so I had to go apartment hunting.
Oh my.
I didn't have money, so I was looking for like part-time work. I worked retail for a while, and it was just
Holy.
like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it
That was
without
just
like
in
having
those
a
30 days,
breakdown.
yeah.
Just pure adrenaline of like believing in something and making it happen. But no, like reached out to people, emailed them. Thankfully, like I knew people here who were also like I'd worked with while I was like shooting commercials and content, and who were like somewhat, you know, influential, and they helped. They put it on their like social media and stuff. Some people like blogged about it.
Wow.
Some people in Amsterdam blogged about it, like that I'd met like a few days into the campaign.
Yeah.
There were people in LA that I knew who like sort of blew it up, but it was always like a small bump. I'd go through days when like, all right, we got like 10 or so backers today, and then a stretch of like 2, 3, and then thankfully never one day without anyone, but I'd go through like slumps of thinking, well, this is it. The well has dried. Time to pack up. But then every
Yeah.
week something would happen. Like an influencer would post about it on Instagram. Like Scout wrote about it. These people in LA held an event and talked about it. Like something would always happen to like give it that extra push.
Wow.
All the way till the end.
Brilliant.
And I think. And another cool thing is. So I would hit up. I wouldn't necessarily go for like influencers like out of nowhere. I wouldn't look at people's followings and think, oh, okay, this person has 75,000 followers. I should email her and ask if we can collaborate. Like I never did that. Like I just felt really like icky about it. Instead, what I did was I hit up artists, photographers, just creative people that I admired, and emailed them and just said, hey, look, I've been a fan of your work, been going to your website since I was like 18. I know aside from like your work, your photography, you're into like these values. You're involved with these like things, and I think our values align. And maybe I'm working on this thing. Could you check it out? And then more than half the people I had talked to like emailed back, and it was like shocking to me. I was so bewildered by it because like when I was a kid, I just thought like they were unreachable. They were up there, like elite creatives, and they were like really touched and intrigued by whatever I'm working on, and the fact that they just emailed back was weird enough, and then having them like support it and back it was like even bigger, and like tweet about it too. Like, so let's say the first one of this guy like Nick Anton in New York, he's this big celebrity photographer. He's like shot Bieber when he was like at his peak. Usher, he like did a podcast with Usher like a week before I'd emailed.
Cool.
He does something similar to this, and I emailed him. Is like, hey, look, like, I know you're really into like, you're super personal. You love talking to people. Check this out. And he was like, I love this. Send one to my address in New York, and I'm gonna show this to everyone. And I'm gonna like post a story about it. I'm like, dope. Here you go. And then like 2 weeks later, I see his like Instagram story. I get an email like, I got it. Check my stories. And then he like posted like one of the decks and pulled out one of the cards. And he's like, the card went. I remember watching it, just being like a giddy little girl. So it said, if you could punch anyone in the face without repercussions, who would you choose? And he was like, oh, easy, I'd punch Trump. Who else agrees? And I'm like, yes, oh my God, it's the first. It's like, it's in New York. Someone like a somewhat well-known person is like playing it. I was just like exploding.
Wow.
And then a week later, I think this dude Jeremy Cowart, another like celebrity photographer based in Nashville, he does like he's all into like humanitarian causes, and I sent it to him, and he's like, I love this, I'm gonna tweet about it, and he's like building a hotel for good, and he wants one there, and it was so cool.
Wow.
That was strange. That was just like, so to know that these people that I looked up to as creatives like sort of validate my work was
definitely
such a big deal.
Man. Yeah.
Really even bigger than just doing like a Kickstarter and getting funding.
Who cares about the money, right?
These people who are legit, who have done things, have noticed me.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Yo, we have to get into the cards.
Okay,
now
yeah,
I'm curious.
Right.
Tell us what this is all about, man. I'm just gonna open this up. That's cool.
I think it's still wrapped in plastic. Yours is fresh.
So much plastic.
I know. I don't know how biodegradable these are. I need to like talk to
That's
them.
okay.
I know.
It's all right. We're not fighting too hard for it, but at least you got a good message, man.
So, man, how do I even start with this? What do you want to know? What do you want to know about these cards?
How are these cards typically used? How do you play? Do you have to shuffle it? Do you have to?
I don't see that top card.
There's no jokers.
There are ways to play it. There you go.
Okay.
I mean, the classic way is everyone draws a card and answers the same. Oh no, you get in a group and you all answer the same question and go as deep as you want.
Okay.
Wait, how is it? Honestly, I like very rarely play it myself just because.
The guy who invented so cards does not play his own game.
You're a singer. How often do you listen to your own music?
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, that's a very good point. Never.
Do you go home and put it on?
Ever.
This is so good.
Do
you invite people in, like, listen to my stuff?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta sell it, right?
I think. Okay. So the classic version is sort of like the Cards Against Humanity thing, where someone answers the question and then. No, someone picks a card, everyone else answers, and then the person like picks their favorite, and they get the card and they earn points.
No, there's points. Okay.
I mean, they get the card and they accumulate however many.
Who has the deepest? Well, obviously the difference between Cards and Humanity and So Cards is it asks deep questions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's sort of like get you to like really get be known or get to know everyone else.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, people will try this and then within 3 or 4 turns, they just forget that there is a game in the first place,
and they just
keep talking, which is great in itself. Like that's the whole point. I mean, you can like people can play and then just pick a card and answer your own and do it like really structurelessly.
Yeah.
You can play on your own and like journal or blog about it or whatever.
Right.
I've heard couples who like do it as if I were you, like pick a card and then answer as if they were the other person as a test of like how well they know each other.
That's kind of cool. I also imagine this as like a speed dating activity.
Yeah,
you get 3 cards each.
I'll get to that.
Right.
We did that the other week. Then there's like my friends have done like a drinking game where like you get our own variation of like Power Hour, where you like every minute you take a shot of beer and then answer a question. And then next minute another shot, another question.
Let's try it, man. Let's do one each. Just so people know what Soul Cards is all about. And obviously everyone can get it online, right?
Yeah, I mean, they can get it on. So
Or
in
while
the
Miguel's
Philippines,
still
they
here.
can get it on Amazon, but pay like crazy prices. But if they want to get it locally, email like Bug all your retailers, Bug like Fully Booked or
Yeah,
Hobbs
to
or
buy it,
National Bookstore or Common Room, whoever. Like email them and say like, hey, do you have these cards? And then do that enough, and they'll like finally budge and actually support this thing.
Hey, we'll probably do this as like a workshop for creative pickings, man. We will support this, but let's play this game. Let's find out. Okay,
is this mine or you go
me
first?
So the question is, what were you best known for when you were in high school? What was that best known for when I was in high school? When I was in high school, man, I used to have a fro. True story, giant fro. I think my hair was just super damaged, and I'd get cornrows, and I was that kid that would. I was a choir boy, so I was that choir boy, afro, not your typical, but yeah.
Oh, that's great.
What about you, man? What were you?
Oh,
yeah. Let's
mine?
do each other's. What were you best known for when you were in high school?
I was skating a lot. I got into skateboarding, so I was known as that. And there were a bunch of things. Well, there's that. There's skateboarding. That was a big thing. Like me and my friends, we would skate and film ourselves and jump down stairs and stuff.
Parkour.
I was known for like drawing a lot. It was like all my notebooks and tests like full of doodles. So the teachers would bring back my quizzes and would circle them. It's like, stop doing this. I can't help it. I finished the test with a few minutes left and I have nothing to do. Just let me draw.
Stop doing this.
But some of them were nice. It was like, oh, I like this one. Like,
Yeah,
cool.
it's like go back
That's
to that
good.
teacher now and be like, look, man, look what I did with my life.
When I was in high school, like the latter years of high school, I was like, my family got really into church, and then we played in the church band and stuff. So I was known as that too. I was like,
Cool.
holy of the holy, didn't drink, didn't go to parties and everything. And it's funny, like after moving and going back and like going through my own like personal odyssey, people meet me who've not seen me in high school. They were like, or we'll go out to a party or whatever. And they're just like, who is this person?
What happened to you, man?
He has tattoos.
What happened to you? Doesn't say anything, man. That's cool.
But yeah, I think that's what I was known for.
Cool. The doodler that transformed. All right, let's see yours,
All
man.
right, this will be dicey. Well, maybe not. What are misconceptions about your country and people that you would like to dispel? And so it's interesting because I've been moving. I lived ever since moving out of Manila. I've lived in San Francisco, LA, and now Amsterdam. And I've in between just traveled a ton. And it's interesting seeing what people's conceptions are of the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in California, everyone has a Filipino friend. So they just think you guys love rice and sing and dance.
Filipino culture is pretty prominent. in,
everyone. I swear, everyone's got a Filipino friend. But then, I mean, there were also when I went to college, there were people who were not from California who moved there, and so they come from whatever little town and don't even know where the Philippines is. There was really one girl who was like, wait, that's in Asia? Mm-hmm. There was one person who just wondered, do you guys have roads? Do you guys?
Oh my God. Oh
Well, tell me more about your island. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I live in the city, so I don't know. And let me think. So that's nothing too bad, I think. People didn't have a lot of misconceptions, I think, in terms of people in the U.S., people on the West Coast. It's more just a lack of, they just didn't know much about it. They just thought okay, you're the guys who are happy, chill people who live on islands and go to the beach and stuff. But identity, the Filipino identity is since moving to Amsterdam, that's been something that's been on my mind a lot. Because in Europe, Asians are just like lumped into one big group.
Yeah, they can differentiate.
If you go to Germany, the Netherlands, and a bunch of other places, you'll see a lot of these Asian restaurants, and they're just called Asian restaurants. So I was like, go in there, and I'm like, what's this? What do you have? What kind of restaurant is this? Is this Japanese, Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese? And they're just like
Asian.
Yes, yes it is.
Yes, it is. Whatever you say.
Go on a menu, look at the menu, and you'll find like pad thai and like curry and sashimi and
it's all
like
there.
champagne.
It's a bit.
This is strange. Like we all, man, this is we're like such a diverse, rich like continent. We're the biggest continent. Like
Yeah, man.
people, and we just got lumped into one thing, and then people get offended if like, oh, you think I'm German? No, I'm Dutch. Like,
Yeah.
Sweden and Switzerland are not the same. How dare you? I'm like, well, you just call all of us Asians. It's like
We do it to each other.
we gotta. I've said I know I've done this said this a bunch of times already, but like, I feel like as revenge, I need to go to like Shanghai or whatever and put up a place just called White Food.
That's the next Kickstarter, my friend.
50,000. You get White Food, and you get the menu just has like, yeah, you get typical burgers and schnitzel and kale and avocado on toast.
It's like, oh,
and
this is white
a
food.
juice cleanse section.
Oh my
Everyone
goodness.
says howdy or bonjour. Like, how does that feel?
It's like,
So that's a misconception. Let's see. Yeah, people just assume like, oh, Asian, whatever. I've literally had someone tap me on the shoulder. I was at this bar, and this lady goes, "Konnichiwa."
great.
No, cool. Same region, same continent. I'm not even Southeast Asia, but I'm not Japanese. I'm sorry. Then she goes, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I get it mixed up. I meant to say ni hao." And she was being sincere, and I was like, "Wait, I'm gonna stop you right
They mean
there."
well, right? So they want to be able to connect, but it is pretty hilarious.
They just think Asians. They just think, man. They just think, and a lot of people think like everyone's poor and it's all dirty
Because it's the world, yeah.
There are always like so many stereotypes of like just like Asian men, and at this point I'm just like, all right, whatever, I live with it. Like if I go to a party or a bar and like a lot of white men are just like, Asian dude, not even in competition.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, whatever. I'm like smarter and wittier than you. I can like run circles around you like.
So hey
my
guys,
stories
this is
and
an
jokes.
example. Obviously, what we've been talking about is this question: what are the misconceptions about your country,
Country
the
and
Philippines?
people.
Dude, my sentiments are the same, but
Yeah, you were like what, from Canada?
yeah,
right?
I'm from Canada, man. So it's the exact same boat. You pretty much listed it all, but I just wanted to get through a couple more questions. This is cool, man. This gets people going. This will get like usually on creative pickings we don't like push or sell stuff or kind of real, but this is, I mean, this stuff's real, man. It's pretty awesome. Let's read a couple more questions.
Alright,
Like, if your closest friends had never met you, how do you think their lives would be different? Ooh. What is the oldest item in your possession? Ooh, okay. Just a couple more here. What type of person? I don't want to spoil it, right? You guys, you might as well buy this, or you could bug me because I have a deck now. We can play. What type of person are you least likely to become friends with? If you could resurrect one person for a year, just for a year, who would you choose and why? How did you come up with these questions, man? Like, is it those like late nights where you're getting
Late
insomnia
nights
and
with friends. My siblings like to think of these too.
okay? Because these are a lot, man.
Yeah. There's a bunch more like all just written in like a Word document.
So you could have So Cards Part 2.
Every year I'm gonna put out a new one.
Hey!
You know?
Beautiful.
I mean, I get tired of my own stuff, so I gotta like,
Yeah.
refresh. In terms of like coming up with these, a lot of them just come up in conversation. I'm like, ooh, that was fun. Like, go and write that down. Or I do like think about them intentionally. Or like when I think of what questions to put in, there's always like these two sides of like this spectrum, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a bunch of like people who create like whatever icebreaker collections, and it goes one of two ways. One is like really trying so hard to be quirky and but doesn't have any substance. Like if you were if you were a sandwich, what toppings would you have? If you were what ice cream flavor would you be? And it's just like, okay.
It's like those chain emails when we were in grade 7.
Yeah, the survey, like, answer this and tag 5 of your
What's
friends.
your favorite color?
But it's like, what is that even? That doesn't reveal anything about a person. Like, what are you gonna read about when if someone says, "Oh, I would have mustard in my sandwich"? Like, what is? So what? And then another one. No. But they're like, "Oh, but it's cute, and you never thought about this." Well, yeah, because I never had any reason to, and I don't have any reason to ever think about it again.
No desire.
But the other side of it is when it's just like barging into the conversation with like it's death. It's so like confrontational. Like there's this one guy who like this Dutch dude who sat with me and my friends. He like these two girls, and he really wants to get with one of them.
Yeah.
And he was trying so hard to sound profound, so he was like, "Hey, I have this one question. What's your gift to the world?" It's like, I don't know. Do you want to gift us our tab? Like, do you want to pay for our food?
Very nice, yeah.
Like, I don't. We're not trying to think about this right now. It's just like, I get it. It's good to think about these things, and sure, think about that. Take a moment and write it down. And I think it's great. But it's too vast. It's too.
And then
there's no like
kind of inappropriate.
There's no finesse to it.
Yeah.
What I try to do is like, I give it either a good question to me is one that like brings out stories, like definitely bring out stories. And another is I try to frame it in a way that it is specific enough that they immediately have something to do, to think about. Like, I see them as like breadcrumbs to lead you down a trail.
Yeah.
Like one of the more popular questions is, what's a common trait shared by everyone you've dated? Which in essence is the same as what's your type? So every time someone's been asked what's your type, they either say, I don't have a type, or I don't know, it's hard, I have to think about this. Like everyone's so different. But then by framing it this way, they know exactly where to go, and they will find that there is like a pattern.
Very interesting.
So
it's
I
the way
think
you
about
ask it,
these,
yeah.
and then write them all down. And I don't know, test them out in live, see what works. And it's funny, it's like, I guess girl I've been seeing, she's like, I would ask her a question. Then one time she was like, you know what? Sometimes I don't know if you're like talking to me or trying to play your game.
Yeah, you're just my guinea pig, girl. Sorry. That's why we're dating.
Like, oh no, I swear it's real. But the research comes as a byproduct.
Yeah. Miguel, I gotta ask you, man, how do you handle small talk when somebody obviously you've got depth and character, and you just that's why you made these cards, man. You're probably sick of it, but how do you handle
bad at it?
Like if someone goes, hey, man,
There's so many things I can't. Like I don't really follow sports much, so it's like when people talk about whatever game recently, I'm just like, yeah. I also saw the ball go through the hoop.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
I don't know how to. So small talk. I always try to like somehow lead it to something more interesting. I mean, I guess a common thing is when people talk about the weather, it's just like I feel like they've given up.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I know. I too live in the I too walked through the street today, and I felt the sun on my skin. So I don't know anything. You've given me nothing new.
It's how you ask it. I bet you can make a card that asks about the weather.
If I could think of a better way to approach weather, I'd be pretty proud of
You'd
that.
be a millionaire.
I think my curiosity and my restlessness play into how I approach conversation, just because I have no patience. I'm just so impatient.
You just get bored easy.
I don't know what celebrities are up to. I don't know what anything of the latest shows. I've been out of the loop. Just tell me about you.
Yeah. Who the hell cares, man?
Dude, what's your approach to small talk? What's your go-to?
The reason I was asking is I need help, man. It's tough. No, sometimes I do play along with that too. Like I can. I learned from sales it's good to read the newspaper and it's good to keep up with all the basic
Sales?
stuff. Yeah, man.
You work in sales?
Before,
Okay.
not anymore. But that's something I learned, and it made sense because all the salesmen, or at least at the time, the effective salesmen were the ones who watched golf, basketball, football, hockey, knew about the weather, knew about different activities happening in town, and they just were always able, oh, hey, you just came from, oh, my wife was just...
Okay,
but it was really
yeah.
dull, but it helped them connect and it helped bring a sale, right? But obviously with soul cards and your way of thinking, it's, you know, we're trying to take it to the next level, I hope, right?
I mean, if I'm trapped in a dull conversation, I think I usually have like a bunch of stories or like a bunch of anecdotes or stuff like
just like
in my
ready to
back
go.
pocket. That somehow will like lead to.
Yeah.
And it's like as long as they're entertained, it's good. And especially if like I don't want to talk, it's like
Yeah.
I've noticed that the more person laughs, the more entertained they are, the less likely they are to like ask you questions. I'm like, cool, I get to keep my walls up.
Wow. So yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you as a last question for this podcast.
Yeah.
How do you practice? Because if you're going to release a new deck of SO cards every year, it's a lot of content, man. So how do you
There's a
practice to
lot.
develop that and make it good?
I mean, I know like initially did like this giant burst of output that first night, but I'm trying not to do that anymore, just like not to exhaust myself. But I mean, I'm just like constantly meeting people anyway, especially now that I'm like doing these events. And like whenever like something catches my attention, like then I'll write it down. That's really it. I'm just like, I've already accepted that this is just part of me. This is like, I just need to like pay attention and know and like pull out my phone or notebook and jot down the thing and, I don't know, man. It's not really a practice. It's just an extension.
Subconscious?
Of what I've already been doing. But I guess
Interesting.
it's just a matter of like trying to be present at all times and and getting tired of my own stuff like constantly and trying to renew all that.
Yeah. Amazing, man. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I am super proud of what you're doing, and it's cool that it's pretty much born in the Philippines. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
for
let's
sure.
take credit, Filipinos.
Absolutely.
But this is a worldwide thing, changing the world through SO cards. Let's do one more for you guys so you got something to think about.
If I didn't live here, I feel like I wouldn't have come up with this.
No way.
No, so that's the funny thing. Man, how do I say this diplomatically? But
Oh, it's terrible.
Filipino culture, you know, we don't like deep conversation often. It's so you know, when people go on their lunch breaks and stuff, they'll talk about whatever shows they watched or
I completely get you, man.
or relationships and I mean the only thing that people like to go deep on are like in terms of love and chemistry and all that, but like long philosophical ideological discussions
Doesn't exist.
there's a bit of a pushback at times. It's like, ooh, that's deep, whoa.
Yeah.
And then so that I think if I had not ever faced that frustration, I would not have had to like come up with a solution like create an easier access point to these
But
things.
it's good that you had that problem because you
Oh,
created the solution, man.
Absolutely.
So it's really good.
If I was born in a society where people would freely just like talk about whatever ideas, then I would never have noticed that it was a need.
We need this in this country more than you think, man. Like,
It's-
I mean, it's huge, and obviously you're going all over the place in Europe, but we need this in Asia,
I mean,
man.
That's why it's like it's the biggest. We've had the biggest crowd here. So anyway, yeah, let's do.
One more question to take home. Here we go. Imagine you had just been released after 10 years in prison. Fuck, man. How would you spend your first day out?
10 years in prison. 10. Wow. What would I miss? Well, what's taken away from you when you're in prison?
Time, man. Life.
Family.
Family, good times, good food. I would just be angry. However, whatever reason I was in jail, man, I would just take revenge. Unless I went to jail because I killed somebody, then I'd repent, I
If
guess.
you deserved it?
Yeah, if I deserved it, I'd be like, oh man, that sucks. But if somebody got me in there falsely, I would just wreak havoc. I'm a demon.
Man, I don't know, dude. I'd probably go on a buffet. I feel like I
First
really,
thing you do is eat.
honestly, I mean, think about it. Like, what's prison food like? I really doubt it's.
It's
I
beans,
really doubt you would
potatoes,
have
like-
sushi.
No, man, yeah, it's just the bare bones.
I could have either a buffet or like a Japanese restaurant. I'd probably like every day like be thinking of all the food I'd fantasize about all the things I would want to eat.
For 10 years, it's like sushi.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go straight home. I would just like tell whatever family or friends like meet me at this buffet spot, and let's catch up there while I stack my plate of every food that we were denied.
I love it. I love it.
So
All right.
let's hope that never happens though.
Never, never. Not with this man. Dude, thank you so much for being a
Yeah,
guest on
of
Creative
course,
Pickings.
yeah. Thanks for
All right,
having
guys,
me.
Miguel Luis, check out Soul Cards. It's super, super amazing. And hopefully you come back and hopefully we can get these in the Dutch.
It's on Instagram
Yeah.
at SoCards, SOCRDS. I know people go on websites like SoCards.org.
Yeah.
It's on Facebook too. But yeah, Instagram is basically like where it's most active. So, all right, cool. That's about it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.